The majority of our members are women making between $40,000 and $65,000 a year. Not the kind of salaries that can withstand being rolled back.
The union representing Canadian federal civil servants has voted to strike. PSAC couldn't say how many of its over 120,000 members voted for strike action, but say an overwhelming majority are on board. The union has been trying to get wage increases to cover the rising cost of living and says it's not willing to trade in on remote work, another key negotiating issue, to get them.
No, we will not compromise on our wage demands to get remote work. There's no doubt about that.
35,000 workers with the Canada Revenue Agency previously voted to strike over similar complaints. This latest group includes firefighters, tradespeople, and clerks in the federal public service. Union President Chris Aylward says if a strike does happen, it could affect things like employment insurance, border crossings, and customs officials. A public interest commission has filed a report on wages that it thinks could bring both sides closer towards a deal. 1.5% raises retroactive to 2021, 4.5% raises for 2022, and 3% this year. But union bosses say this is below the rate of inflation, currently pegged at over 5%, and would constitute a salary cut.
We have some of the lowest paid workers within the federal public service, and those workers are currently relying on food banks in order to feed their families. That's how far we're falling behind in our wages.
While PSAC has a strike mandate, it's still negotiating throughout this week and hasn't ruled out the possibility of coming to a deal. In a statement, the Treasury Board Secretariat says its goal remains to reach a deal at the table as soon as possible and notes that mediated negotiations are continuing.
I assume that the government is torn between both wanting to appear as fair to public sector workers, but also wanting to hold the line in terms of budgets.
Peggy Nash is a former NDP president and a former union negotiator. She says the union's position is understandable, especially given the huge amounts of money Canada is spending to contract work out.
From the outside looking in, we've seen massive contracts to outside contractors to deliver services, and I can well imagine that there have been frustrations among the civil service people saying, hey, wait a minute, that's our work. That money should be going to us. And if you need more staff, then hire more people.
In Ottawa, Shally Lee, City News.